What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country that you need to know about on a daily basis, including money, investing, the stock market, the fourth stimulus package update, and a stimulus check update. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, make sure to click the subscribe button down below. It's completely free to do so. And remember that new videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will keep you up to date here. We got a lot to talk about here. In fact, there's a new state that I found out here potentially considering more stimulus checks, $500 and $1,000. And some new details on federal stimulus checks here as House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer are considering stimulus checks here to combat inflation as well and to combat the oil industry and the gas companies who have just posted record billions and billions of dollars in profits. Yeah, they're literally gouging us here. So we'll cover here a lot of different things here. So let's jump right in. You can see here from Yahoo News, there is a plethora of states that are considering or have already passed stimulus checks or tax rebate checks, kind of the same thing here on the state level. Let me zoom this in here though so you can see it better. California under consideration a gas tax rebate of up to $400 per car. They have also just recently potentially changed this to be instead of per car, it could be $200 per person and also have a getting rid of their gas tax, which is like 51 cents per gallon for a year. So it could be a twofold thing where you could get $200 per person and $200 per child and get rid of their 50, it's like 50 or 51 cents per gallon in gas tax for a whole year. There's multiple different things that they're considering in the new California state stimulus package. Okay, so this is because this legislation is kind of stalled a little bit in the California State Legislation Assembly. So I'll keep you up to date here on this. Remember, last year California sent about 27 plus million stimulus checks last year, and this year they're going to do something as well. The state of Georgia, a tax rebate or check is coming $250 for single filers, $375 for head of household, and $500 for married filing jointly. In a lot of these states, you do have to file a tax return. So if you don't normally file a tax return, please look into it if your state is mentioned, because you might want to go ahead and just file a tax return if you don't normally. Okay, because you can just go ahead and file a tax return under most circumstances if you don't normally file one. Okay, so if you're from one of these states, please look into the information, Google it, and talk with somebody who knows about taxes. If you have a friend or family member, or walk into a tax center like an H&R Block and see if you can file if you don't normally file, because if you can get this money, you might want to file, even if you don't normally file. A tax rebate for every Hawaiian taxpayer is under consideration. $300 if you make less than $100,000, and $100 if you make over $100,000. So married couples could potentially get $600 here if you make less than $100,000 for two people. Idaho, tax rebates, again, tax rebates are checks via direct deposit or paper stimulus check. The greater of $75 or 12% of what you paid for your Idaho state taxes. Indiana, one-time tax refund checks of $125 per person or $250 for couples. Kansas, under debate, reducing or getting rid of the state grocery tax. Kentucky, under debate. This is the new one that I had not previously seen. A one-time stimulus rebate up to $500 per state resident and $1,000 per household. I did go ahead and try to look some of this up, and I did come up with, I seen a couple articles. This was one of the better ones here. Bill providing Kentuckians with $500 clears a tax with a $500 tax rebate clears committee, but it looks like I have not seen any new information on this. So it looks like that it's kind of stalled a little bit as they're trying to figure out details. So it looks like it would have been $500 per person or $1,000 per married couple, as you can see here that it's still under debate. So not really a lot more information on that because it hasn't passed. So it's really kind of the details right now. You could see here State Senate Bill 194, sponsored by Senator Christian McDaniel, was originally a Republican, was originally designed to remove a gender specific language when referred to the governor, which is what's the point? During a special meeting of the Senate Appropriations and Revenue Committee, McDaniel introduced changes to the legislation that said each working Kentucky taxpayer would receive $500 with a maximum of $1,000 per household, and said that the tax rebate is possible because of conservative budget practices, and also because they got stimulus money worth billions of dollars as well, with unexpected and exceptional revenue growth to yield over $1.94 billion in excess funds that belong to Kentucky taxpayers. See, like I just did a quick Google and it says Kentucky state and local governments to receive $3.77 billion in federal relief funds from the American Rescue Plan. So almost $4 billion they got just from the last stimulus package. So, when they say it's oh, we did a good job budgeting. Well, you know, I don't know so much about that when they got $3.77 billion from the stimulus package. Well, somebody scared me while I was filming. What do you want to say?
Hi.
Yeah. How was your birthday?
Great, and I sneaked on you.
You sneaked up on me. Yeah. Why'd you scare me?
I sneaked on you and boo you.
You were a sneaky sneaker. All right. Are you a sneaky, sneaky bandit?
Yes.
All right. Say bye-bye, everybody. We love you.
It's you bye.
Okay, next up, the state of Maine has passed direct stimulus check payments of $850. These are passed per person. So married couples could or will get $850 each for a total of $1,700. Remember, some of these states may require you to file a tax return. Some of these states also have programs where they might not need you to file a tax return. Some states may have other systems where they can look you up in other ways. If you're from any of these states, please do your due diligence and look that up here so you know the details of each state. Some of these states also have other things as well where they're doing property tax rebates as well. Some of these states are doing additional money, like I know Illinois is one of them, where they're doing up to $300 of property tax checks back. I think Maine is one of them too, where you can get a check back for property owners as well as a lot of states are pausing their gas tax, pausing their grocery tax as well, pausing their sales tax or lowering them, and pausing their or lowering their income tax as well. So a lot of Republican run states tend to gravitate that way, where they prefer to lower taxes. So it's just kind of a slightly different viewpoint that some states prefer to do. They just prefer to lower taxes. So, which does save a lot of people money, just in a different way. So keep that in mind. But a lot of states are doing packages where they're maybe giving checks and multiple checks, like a property tax check as well, and also lowering gas taxes and lowering other type of taxes here as well. Okay, next up we got Maine and then New Jersey under consideration a property tax rebate, like I just said, of up to $250 for renters and an average of $700 for homeowners. So a potential two different types of checks there for New Jersey. New Mexico has passed a one-time rebate check, $250 for singles and married filing jointly. This is a little bit wrong because it's two checks each, and I know this because I have multiple articles that show this here. It's two sets of $250 checks. I'll show you here. You could see here lawmakers have passed this rebate check in New Mexico, stimulus check, rebate check, whatever you want to call it, with lawmakers voting to give $500 to individual taxpayers and $1,000 to married couples. It'll come in the form of two electronic payments, one in the spring and one in the fall. Your income level doesn't matter. So again, it's going to come in two different payments: $500 to individuals, $250 and $250, and $1,000 to married couples in the same payments. Because remember, couples are just two people, so two sets of $250 per person. Okay, so I think I got that right. New York has several different things here: property tax rebates for 2021, 2022, and 2023. So that's pretty cool. An average of $425 in New York City and $970 outside of the city. They also have several proposals for stimulus checks in addition to these property tax rebates. Number one is this: Senator Daphne Jordan has advanced a quote common sense amendment to the state budget to establish $1,000 family freedom inflation relief checks to help New York families being hurt by inflation. This would go out to multiple different groups of New York families if passed, potential $1,000 checks. There's also another New York proposal that is similar to the California proposal that would send out $250 gas checks for New York residents, but you have to own a car for this one. So you don't have to really be a taxpayer. You have to own a car, similar to the California proposal for car owners. So they would go by a car registration. So basically, $250 per car owner. Um, for New York, though. Okay, this is another proposal that could go through at any given time. This is to help with gas prices, basically. In Pennsylvania, under consideration, cutting state gas tax by 30%. And then we also have the massive buy directly from the governor has reduced or has, I'm sorry, has renewed the call for $2,000 stimulus checks for most Pennsylvanians. You can see here, this is dated here just as of today. Governor Tom Wolf is once again calling on state lawmakers to approve his plan to give Pennsylvanians a check using federal stimulus relief dollars from the stimulus package that each state got. Wolf says he wants to use $500 million of the $2.2 billion of unspent stimulus pandemic money to give most Pennsylvanians a one-time state stimulus check of up to $2,000. I think you have to make between under $75,000 or $80,000 in this one. Both former President Trump and President Biden got congressional approval for their federal stimulus checks, but so far, Wolf's state stimulus plans have had a cool reception in Harrisburg. One member of the state Senate Appropriations Committee in Pennsylvania says his Republican colleagues prefer to spend that money on other things like bridge work on I 79 instead of tolling the interstate. This is what your legislators want to do in Pennsylvania. But remember that they don't need to do this because the infrastructure package is going to give each state money, and they're probably starting to get it now for road projects. So they don't need to spend their own stimulus package money on things like repairing bridges and roads. Wolf says the Republican legislature should act now to provide direct relief to families hit hard by inflation. which is exactly what the stimulus money is for. Yeah, none of these states need to use money for roads, bridges, or anything like that on because that's what the physical infrastructure package, which was a bipartisan package, Mitch McConnell, Republican from the Senate, had a large part in passing it. It wouldn't have been able to pass the Senate without him voting on it and his Republicans voting on it. So there's no reason for that. The bipartisan physical infrastructure package is going to pay for roads and bridges and sewers and all stuff all around across the United States. That's additional money. So they don't need to spend the money on that. There's two different sets of money for that stuff. You can let me know your thoughts. And in Virginia, under consideration, cutting or getting rid of altogether the state grocery tax or suspending the state's 26 cent per gallon gas tax for a year. If I recall correctly, though, the Democrats in Virginia wanted to send stimulus checks instead of that. That was a proposal by the Republicans, if I recall correctly from a video I showed previously on this channel. This isn't all the states. I'm sure there's some that I've covered before that I'm missing or that I've just don't have time to cover here at this moment. Like Missouri has a $500 per person stimulus check proposal here that they're working on as well. Both Republicans and Democrats are considering that in the state of Missouri. Also, the state of Delaware has passed $300 checks as well per person, $600 for married couples. This is already passed, so that is official. And the state of Colorado just passed $400 here as well, which is actually $800 per married couple. And I believe that's the state where I just recently showed the governor talking about a news conference, and he said there's a whole bunch of other things in there as well, like free. I think it was free preschool and a whole bunch of other things in there as well. So there's a bunch of things to reduce costs for a bunch of other things here. He says, but anybody has to file their taxes for the state by May 31st. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Now, on the federal level, you can see here to cut gas costs, Democrats are focusing on oil company price gouging. Nancy Pelosi, leader of the House of Representatives, House Speaker, and Chuck Schumer, leader of the Senate Majority Leader, are working on several different things here. They're working on price gouging from the oil companies. Several different things they're trying to do. You can see here from this with Bernie Sanders here as well. Progressives are seizing on quarterly oil profits to call for a windfall tax. Several different oil companies just posted their largest quarterly profits ever in the history of their companies, and are literally just gouging the American consumers. In fact, they actually kind of just announced that they're not going to increase production, so that they want to keep oil prices high and not increase production. And you can see here that progressive lawmakers and Democratic lawmakers actually want to do what's called a windfall tax to tax them on their, you can see here, Democrats unveil a plan. They've actually unveiled a bill to issue quarterly checks, quarterly stimulus checks to Americans by taxing oil companies posting huge profits. And this is because they're literally gouging the American consumers. They're purposely not increasing supply. These oil companies just announced this to their shareholders. It's public information. You can actually go and listen to their conference call because it's public information because you can be a shareholder. Anybody can go buy shares of their company. And so lawmakers and Democrats, because Democrats are in control of the House, the Senate, and the presidency right now, are doing multiple different things to try to uh, bring the price of gas down, bring the price of inflation down, and also redistribute to Americans. And also, Nancy Pelosi has recently said here that she prefers payments being sent to Americans here, aka a stimulus check, just like all these states are doing here as well. Remember the third stimulus check, which was $1,400. The Democrats had to pass that on their own. Not a single Republican voted for that, even though the Republicans voted for the second stimulus check underneath former President Donald Trump in December, right before Biden came into office in January back in 2021. So literally a month before Biden came into office, the Republicans voted for the second stimulus check, but as soon as Biden came into office, they weren't willing to vote for any more stimulus checks. But which is it's just kind of partisanship. They don't want to, vote for the other side. But then the Democrats passed the third stimulus check all on their own. So it'll be interesting to see how they pass the next one if the Democrats have to pass it all on their own through the reconciliation process. But Nancy Pelosi just recently said that new payments are being considered to fight gas costs and that she prefers more payments, aka checks, as opposed to lowering or getting rid of the federal gas tax. She prefers just rebate cards or an actual check like the third stimulus check was. So I will keep you up to date here on all this. Make sure to subscribe down below to our YouTube channel. It's completely free to do so. New videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can click here to watch my newest video next. You can click this top video here to watch about $15 billion of mortgage assistance, rent assistance, and utility assistance that just became available. And you can click this bottom video over here on SNAP money and pandemic EBT money that has just became available here as well. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.